into the swing of doing these episodes, thankfully, because I missed it.
Same. It's refreshing.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like in many ways, like, these episodes feel like a check-in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm able to, like, take the moment to process, because my processing speed is not fast. I've come to learn. My processing speed's quite slow. Mm-hmm. And then I got that, like, which I might have to claim for myself, demand avoidance as well. And I think that's okay. I think a lot of us, honestly, now that we're parents of neurodivergent children, take a moment and go, whoa, they're an awful lot like me. And like, and I know that I'm really sensitive to this because, like, I have complex, like, imposter syndrome that I know you also have. And so I feel like every time I want to claim something, I need to have evidence and credentials and, like, and I think it's okay. I'm not attention seeking. I think I'm just trying to figure myself out so then I can work on skills to make my life better and more supportive, and I can enjoy the things that I want to enjoy more authentically. And that's my purpose, that's my goal. Sure. Not to be like, oh, I also have autism, and I also have, you know, demand avoidance, and I also am, now everybody look at me. Like, I feel like when I try to claim something that's how others perceive me.
Same.
Right?
Same. Every time I go to the doctor, I feel like, well, no, it's okay. And I've always been told, well, you have a high pain tolerance. No, I don't. This shit hurts. But when I come to you...
I'm so afraid to tell you that.
I'm afraid to tell you because you're going to think I'm a drug addict and I'm just here for the oxy.
Ooh, yes. Ooh, and this makes me think of every time I go, like, recently I went to the bank and I had to cash a very large check and I started to sweat because I'm like, y'all going to think that I stole this money.
Right.
That I have no legal right to this money. And I'm now freaking out. Or, like, sometimes I'll go to the cash register to, like, pay for things, and I'm like, everyone thinks I've stolen something, and it's in my purse. What is that?
Our mom.
Well, but what is, that's gotta be a thing. It's gotta be a thing.
It's gotta be.
To feel like I'm afraid of authority. Ooh. Getting caught. Ooh. That's why we lied. Maybe still demand avoidance.
You're in control. Because you're thinking the thoughts. Yes, so you can be ready for
when
the
a police
action.
officer comes up and goes, ma'am, put your hands behind your back. You're coming.
Be like, I read this book. Okay.
I mean, but it ain't turning out the way that book turned out.
Well, this is Jennifer.
Whoa.
What? I thought this was an intro.
This is I see.
So on that.
Yes, on that note. Sure. This is Jessica.
And this is Jennifer.
And this is the Behavioral Plan Podcast. I'm so confused.
I'm
turned about. I'm upside down. So you recently brought your daughter somewhere that I'm really excited to hear about how that played out.
Yeah, we went to the dentist.
Ooh.
And we did not practice at home ahead of time. We didn't bring out the dental kit. We didn't nothing. I just was like, you know what? We haven't attended an Ahhtism Smiles event yet. See what it's all about. We're just going to go and do it.
Yeah, and I mean, doing those other things are really good too.
Yeah.
Like, you can buy, like, the dentist teeth on Amazon, which, you know, if you can find it somewhere else, do it. But Amazon is where I know you can find it. And then you just get a toothbrush.
Learning, maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe Lakeshore Learning. I like that idea too, if you're local and have one. Wait. They're, like, all around town. They're, like, all around the United States, aren't they?
Well, we also have that...
Well, I think you can also get it at, like, Montessori. Like, it just might not be for toddlers. I think you can get it at Montessori stores.
Well, let me tell you, she's going to recommend a store, and you're going to go on it, and your cart's going to be, like, $16,000 worth of stuff.
Go to For Small Hands.
I don't think there's teeth on there, but...
No, probably not. But it's a gateway drug. You'll find other sites.
Yes.
But For Small Hands is a really great Montessori site because... And it's... You could probably find a lot of these things much more affordable in other places. But For Small Hands has a bunch of, like, practical life stuff and a lot, which I think, you know, is really important for a lot of our kiddos who are learning to have functional independence.
Yes, but
right?
once
And all
again,
kids need those things.
But once again, it's the whole I wish I had life skills class in high school.
Yeah, I mean, we
got 23rd year.
We got to learn how to cook. We got to learn how to sew. We got to learn how to do laundry. You didn't have that? You didn't have home economics?
We didn't.
They get rid of it before you?
No, I took one cooking, but it was Middle school, yes. But we only cooked. I don't remember doing laundry.
Oh, I had to sew a drawstring bag.
Learning how to...
I had to do laundry at home.
I remember having to do, like, write checks and balance checkbooks. That. But never W-2s, never, like, high school. Never all of those things.
Right.
So, yeah, having...
Right. But, like, what's nice about, like, this awareness as an adult is, like, what can we do for our kids? If society's not going to, you know, do the work for us, what can we do for our kids to build practical life skills?
Yes.
And
get the teeth.
Yes.
Get a brush.
Yes. Get some floss.
If you grab, like, overhead projector pens, I know people may not know what an overhead projector is.
There's a strong chance, there's a number of people listening that don't.
Not dry erase markers, but wet erase markers.
Yes.
I think if you type that in, it will come out.
Yes.
But, so it takes, they can be smudgy until they dry, but it takes a wet cloth in order to wipe it off, so it works wonders when you have children. Or if you're really crazy about something like not getting smudgy. But if you use that, you can make little marks on the teeth. Yeah. Like they're dirty. You scrub. We've done that before.
You could probably just take some, like, fish crackers and crush the shit out of them in the teeth.
To floss them out.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Brush them off.
Yeah.
But, like, then it can be a sensory table. Like, you can put it in, like, a little bin and have water there. So then they can really, like, the whole experience.
So great.
And then they, like... I don't know, you're building, and then you're like, ooh, your turn?
Yeah.
And then, you know.
And not to project my 8-year-old onto my 2-year-old, but what I've learned with my 8-year-old, there's a fine line between under-preparing and overly preparing that will set off his anxiety.
Yes, right.
And my 2-year-old...
Again, make decisions based on the child that you have in front of you, not based on what other people are telling you.
Right, and my 2-year-old, I'm still trying to figure this one out.
But she's also 2.
And she's also 2. So
she's
I just was like...
trying to figure herself out at
it's
the same
8:30 in the morning. Let's go. It'll be great. And yeah.
So shout out back to our dentistry episode.
Yes.
So you were able to attend Ahhtism Smiles
Yes.
event.
Ahhtism Smiles is the best. It was at Chalette in St. Paul, not far from your old house.
Okay.
I feel like it's Dale and something. I don't know.
Sure.
Sorry, guys. But finally we signed up for the first appointment of the day, 8:30 in the morning, because I assumed nobody wants that appointment, and we're up at 4 most days.
Right,
so
8:30 is the middle of the day.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
More places should be open for toddlers. Anyway.
Even earlier than that.
Even earlier than that, yes. So we went there, which... it's a little bit of a drive for us, and the car is a very testy situation in our family. But thankfully, we only had the 2 smalls with us, the 2-year-old and the babes. And, I mean, you walk in, and you're introduced with nothing but, like, nice calm, but also, like, you could feel their energy and the positivity off of them. And so there's people volunteering with Ahhtism Smiles. I believe one of them works in the school system as a special education teacher. My friend Miranda is obviously a part of it. She used to be a dental hygienist. That's how she came up with all of this. And this was actually... place that she worked for a really long time, so she knew all the dental hygienists and the dentists that volunteered their time. And so it's kind of like a mix, right? You have the practitioners that are also learning in real time, mixed in with people coming in that know how to help and support. So you walk in, and the whole lobby is situated with different types of sensory play, just toys as well. A whole bunch of those goofy stuffed animals with the dentist teeth in them, which I feel like I need to get my 2-year-old one, because she just was all about flossing their teeth and brushing their teeth and counting them. But once she was ready, we went back. And it was so great because I felt like I could step away, because she really... like the person came to her level and was interacting with her the way she liked it. And anytime my 2-year-old would kind of give like a, that's too much, like they listened to her body cues. Like it was just so fantastic. And obviously we have the little baby who is cranky and needs food too. So it was a great balance of everyone. But then she was asked to leave the waiting area to go back to a chair. So we had to scoop up every single dinosaur and bring every single dinosaur. And we scooped up every single stuffed animal with dentist teeth. And collaboratively with the people there, we brought all of these friends with us. Went back, she sat in the chair, she got to ride up and down a little bit. She had water sprayed in her mouth, air sprayed in her mouth. She thought it was fun. She got to spray water and air. She showed them how well she flosses, because that's a preferred activity for her. Brushing teeth. She loves brushing her teeth because she's very orally fixated. But there was a lot of elopement. There was a lot of jumping down and, hey, let's check this place out. And our friend Sam was there with her 2 kids, and it was the second time they had done the autism clinic. And both of them were laid back with their glasses on, getting work done. And Sam was able to just walk around, like she held our baby for a little bit. And even she was like, this is fantastic. And seeing the progress for them, granted they're older than my 2-year-old, and just knowing the progress that my 8-year-old has had, this clinic just like, it was amazing. But rewind back. We didn't get fluoride on. That's fine. We can always come back for the next one. We could always do it in the pediatric office, which she gets a little more pinned down and bullied, but they're like, we're not here to force anything. All this is about exposure, getting comfortable, meeting new people, seeing everything for what it is. Like everything that I used to do with hair, just in a dental, right? And so it just was so lovely, and I was so proud of her, and I kept giving her those affirmations. She kept giving herself affirmations. And what's interesting is it's all about perspective, right? So we go to leave, and once this girl knows that we're leaving, like nothing else matters. She got her donut because they had donuts there. It's like balloons. You just always can have a balloon and it makes your child happy. You can always have a donut and it makes your child happy. So we go to leave. Our friend, the dental hygienist, and now I've already forgotten her name, kept asking her for a high five. Well, she asked her twice. I shouldn't say kept. She asked her 2 different times. 2-year-old was like, no, thank you. I am leaving. So we leave and we get down the road, not even 10 minutes. She starts scream yelling at me, I didn't give my friend a high five. And so I, sent a message to Miranda, and I was like, my 2-year-old really wants to make sure her friend knows that she really wanted to give her a high five. And they loved it, right? They ate that all up. But what was nice on the car ride home is, as we're reflecting on our experience, my 2-year-old and I were having such a positive conversation. Yet here's CB. And this is something that him and I started recording an episode for y'all, but we need to go back and try again, because I think introducing him to y'all in the way that I intend needs to be more intentional.
Sure.
Than just on a whim.
Sure.
Not a limb.
I mean, you could be on a limb.
Sure. It wouldn't be a sturdy one, but what was interesting is, from his perspective, and this goes hand in hand with, being raised differently. He's still working out who he is as a parent and working out how he fits in this community. Yeah. It's still very new to him. Okay. And so he kept expressing like, well, that was terrible. It wasn't good. She didn't stay seated. We didn't get fluoride on. We didn't do, right? Like, he's experiencing it in such a different perspective than what he's hearing us experience. And it was a very great conversation that we ended up having after it, but it just goes to show, like, as you're entering into this community, as you're entering into these amazing opportunities like Ahhtism Smiles, where they're finally creating this safe environment to expose your children to, where you have someone like myself who's been in it, and then someone who's just starting to finally come out and expose themselves, they still view it as, oh, this wasn't successful, right? Whereas on our side, I'm going, where have you been all my life? I wish I knew, like, I wish you were a thing when my 8-year-old was this young, and maybe he wouldn't have so many caps on his teeth, because brushing his teeth was a nightmare. So my intent behind sharing that, because obviously I adore my other half, but he is new to it, and he is new to going into these spaces, and you might still think, wow, this is uncomfortable, or this is still very frustrating because they're still being them. But as, like, the more and more you get out there and find these situations where to bring your kids to, like, it'll be really interesting to see the growth happen and to see it in real time with everyone. And I don't know, I hope good things in sharing that, because I don't know, it was just really interesting.
Yeah, because the experience wasn't about having a dental exam.
No, and maybe I didn't
explain that to him.
Explain that. I don't want to say set that expectation,
No,
but like kind of with him.
I mean, I think he knew exactly what it was supposed to be. I think what it highlights is this isn't unique to him. I think a lot of parents feel this way. Especially with toddlers, where we give toddlers cups that don't spill.
Right.
How is a child supposed to learn not to spill unless they spill?
Right.
How is a child supposed to feel comfortable getting their teeth looked at and cleaned and in their mouth when nothing else is like that in their life? The room, nothing else looks like that. The tools, nothing else is used like that. And if you think about, like, you know, the reason why children feel comfortable in a doctor's office is because you literally have to go like every week and then every month and then every 3 months, then every 6 months and then every year. Like, it becomes just as familiar as home or, you know, any other place you frequent. And so when all of a sudden you start bringing them to the dentist and they start building an awareness of, like, my environment, you know, beyond just being, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of people who don't bring their young children to the dentist. They, like, wait until they're older, which is not how you're supposed to do it. But we talked about that in the episode. But, like, giving them the opportunity to be able to, like, where everyone's on the same page and being supportive, like, go explore. Yeah, that's what that feels like. I can explain this and that. And, like, children learn through play.
Yeah.
You can't sit and explain it to them like a textbook, and most adults don't like that either. We go to the car dealership, sit in a car. Do we just say, okay, I sat in here and put my hand on the wheel? No, we touch every knob, every button, open, close things, look, sniff, touch, all of it. And no one's with us going, oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Just sit there and act like you're driving. You know, and no.
Right.
We go to the clothing store and we don't just, like, grab a shirt. We, like, grab it, we hold it up against ourselves, we touch the fabric, we move it around. So why is the expectation any different for a child? And then even, and this kind of addresses this, but addresses everything that we talked about today, is kids can't just say, I feel scared that I'm in the dentist, or I feel uncomfortable because there's too many people at this festival, or kids can't communicate in that way because developmentally they're just not there yet. It's a skill that they're building. And then there's a range of how that skill is built, at what pace, in what capacity, based on the neurological development of that brain, right? And so kids expressed through play.
Mm-hmm.
So if a kid is being really aggressive, if a kid is being really bossy, it has to do with control or the lack of control that they have in their life. Right. So the answer isn't you're not allowed to play with guns or you're not allowed to play with, swords or these things that look really aggressive from the adult's perspective. The answer is, where do you feel so out of control in your life?
Right.
That now through play, that's how I feel out of control. And so in order to gain this control, I'm now playing in a way that gives me that control.
Right.
So for you bring your child to the dentist, it's a little bit about what can I control here? Because I didn't choose to come here today. And I'm not choosing to go into this chair and open my mouth and have someone count my teeth or paint something that tastes like shit in my mouth.
Sure.
I'm not choosing any of that. So where can I have the control? I can control that all these dinosaurs and all these stuffies
come with me.
They ride with me into this appointment.
Right.
I can control that.
Yep.
I can control when I get off this chair and when I come back in and how I do it. And what's great about an experience like that is everyone says yes.
Yeah.
Then they say, okay, this is a place that I feel safe. That I know that if something feels scary, if something feels wrong, and I express that in whatever way that I can, someone's going to listen and respect what I am trying to express.
Right.
And that's so important. And that's so important in any environment that we're placing our children into. Again, with the lying, don't get angry at your child for lying. Don't. I've heard some wild punishments for children who lie. Look beyond it.
Right. And
look beyond it.
It's not.
I'm
in this headspace that it's not lying.
You cut a knot that's in the back of your hair.
Right.
What is it that they were trying to do?
Right.
They're trying to fix a problem. They don't feel taken care of. They don't feel like if they say this hurts, this whatever, that they're not going to be met with love and respect.
Right. And no matter what, they
lie to avoid being punished.
Well, and it's that piece of the executive function where your impulse is always to tell the person you're talking to what you think they want to hear.
Yes.
So
and that's for demand avoidance people.
Yes.
Most of the time,
yes.
Because I will straight up cook a big old fucking lie automatically.
But I've always, and this is all the way down from when the 23-year-old was going through a lot of the preteen whateverness, going into middle school. It was a constant conversation about lying. And in my head, I'm like, but it's not lying.
But it's not lying.
It's a protective barrier that they have right now because they don't want to get in trouble, or maybe they're questioning what they were doing and now they're going, oh my gosh, was that good? Was that bad? I don't know, but you expect them to meet your processing speed and to meet your timing and to respond instantly without being able to sit and digest their own thoughts. That yes, it may appear as a lie to some people, but I have never viewed it that way.
But what is a lie?
Right.
What is a lie?
Right.
If you think about what a lie is, it's not the truth.
Right.
So why are you lying? And we ask that of our fellow adults, of children. Why are you lying?
Right.
Why are you saying this lie? This is not true. If you actually listen to what you are asking, why are you lying? Follow that thread to, oh, you don't feel safe with me. Oh, you're avoiding being in trouble or whatever, getting caught or. But then why?
But why? No one ever.
It should always just follow with a why. Yes. Why? Oh, I haven't done the work to build a healthy relationship with you. But why? Oh, you're wanting to get away with behavior that I don't accept. Okay, I who are you in control of?
Right.
Yourself. Right? And I think people get so mad about lying because they can't control that. And they can't control that person and the choices that they make and all of those things. And we get so mad about it because it is proof that the only people we can control is ourselves.
Well, and this hits a topic that would have to be saved for a different episode because this is, but like it hits that point of, not point, but it hits the topic of, and maybe this is far-fetched, I don't know, but asking why, or saying it's a PDA profile, or saying whatever, it's not lying, whatever the case may be, it makes me instantly think about, well, you can't use a diagnosis as an excuse.
Correct.
Yes, but the same thing applies. Like, I get the PDA profile, but the same thing would apply to Susie Q down the road.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like, yes. Why is she lying?
Like, why are you?
Yes.
So, like, as much as this is very much so about our children and about the extra hurdles in which we go through on a day-to-day basis, so much of this applies to every single person in this whole
because it's
world.
The part of the brain of executive functioning. It's the nervous system, which we all have. And this isn't just unique to any one category of individuals. We all have nervous system responses. We all have this human experience that we grow through. Right. And I think the more that we stop saying, well, that's you, not me.
Right. Well, and that's like,
the better we can be.
Right. Well, it's like the low demand parenting book.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you, let's have more of these.
Yes.
Because I was just at the bookstore looking at the very small section of books for kids with ADHD, for ODD, because ODD is the only thing really written about.
Yeah, well,
PDA is still new, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, very limited section, and half of the books there, well, I'd say a third of them I already own, and the other 2/3 look super outdated, or it's like a coming to Jesus book, or it just is what it is, and that's okay. There are a handful of ones that we have both collective throughout the years, I feel like, that we really like. But yeah, absolutely you could.
Yeah, and to circle back to low demand parenting, I read it and I was like, amen. Immediately apply. And, well, immediately
construct into...
No? It's not that I wasn't doing those things or thinking that way. It's that I thought that it was me being lazy, right? The impulse for me was always to go the low demand route, but then I felt like I was being a terrible parent. And so that part of the book of being like you're meeting your kids where they're at, you're not, she just made sense, right? And then gave me permission.
Well, and that's the whole thing. All these parenting books, and I think she says this in the beginning.
Yes.
You don't feel like you fit in with them.
No, none of them. And really, truly, low demand parenting can be the parenting guide for all of children.
Them. Yes, absolutely.
Because I think what it does is it decenters Christian parenting. It decenters, I'm going to say it, a lot of parenting expectations or rules or norms come from a very Christian makeup that I think is outdated.
Yeah.
It's grossly outdated. It's not modern. I think you can put your religion in low demand parenting.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that be an atheist. I'm just saying look at it for what it is. Always look at the structure of something and say who built that and for who and for what reason. And a lot of times when we're looking at systems of organized systems of anything, especially here in America, it was built by a white man looking to control his life. Right. And to control and punish others, and that you can fight me on that, as most of our systems are built that way. So if you want to dismantle parenting, if you want to decolonize parenting, that it starts with low demand. Yeah. And it starts at looking at how other cultures parent, and it starts looking at what feels right in your gut, and looking at what life truly is.
But to your point of you felt that you were being a bad parent or a lazy parent or however. But think about that approach and your connection with your child.
Yes,
because
right.
you are meeting them where they're at.
It strengthens my relationship
absolutely.
with them because I stopped doing what I thought was expected of me as a parent and started looking at my child and looking at their mental health, their physical health, their social health, and said, how can I best support all of those categories for you as you age in your life? And then looking at the society in which they have to exist in and help them build the skills to best navigate that system. While also, as the adult separate from them, what can I do to dismantle those systems so then my child doesn't have to mask, doesn't have to feel unsafe, right? So
doesn't have to spend their whole adult life
oh my God, then you have to get into your 40s and be like, am I? Wait a minute, what?
Well, and even, I don't know, now I'm being too, like, philosophical, but
let's go there.
Even the whole, obviously, if you go to a store or you order something online and you want a parenting book, you are looking for some answers, looking for some guidance, looking for whatever, when really it's not about you. It's not about the parent. It's about the kid. Like, as you're saying all of this, it's like, yes, it's about the kid. It's about what the kid needs and how you as a person adapt and make it so then you do build that connection, so you do be able to. So it's not even like your parenting book is your child, but the message in which, like, how you could go about things could obviously come from that, but it's not necessarily a parenting book per se, right? Like, if you approach it that way.
So when you do the Montessori training,
sure,
one of the environments, which is the most important environment that you have to prepare for in being in the life of a child, is yourself.
Right.
It's the adult environment.
Well, yeah.
The child's going to child. They're going to go through this transgression of development, right? At the pace that they are going to do it. The environment is the very room you're in, or the outdoor environment, right? But none of those things matter if you are not prepared to parent.
Right. So
I think parents go to parenting books for, like, because they don't feel prepared. Because they don't feel prepared. So they don't know the questions to ask. So they're looking for answers to questions they don't know that they have to feel prepared. A little bit is anxiety, a little bit of it, I'm curious to see the breakdown by culture and race of who feels prepared to be a parent. Because I think some of it too, and as white women who have entered parenthood, so much of sort of this white existence, right, in America is a floating island, right? We don't have culture. We don't have like a family dynamic, really.
No, because your whole upbringing, what is it? There's two different types of families. There's the one where your upbringing, your upbringing is all about preparing you to be on your own.
Yes.
Whereas in other cultures, it's preparing you, but the goal isn't for you to be independent and just like, okay, you're 18, bye.
Yeah, right.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's not that. But I can't remember. There's two different words. Yeah.
Is it probably inter and intra or something
like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, but like to circle back to the whole parenting book thing, I just like.
But I think it's just that we don't know. We don't know.
Right.
Right? And we ask our parents, they give us, oh, well, you just put them in a crib. That's independence. You just let them cry it out.
I used to sleep in a dresser drawer.
You just let them cry. You just let them cry it out. They got to learn how to regulate themselves. You're absolutely right. It's about preparing. It is about preparing children to be independent. You learn how to calm yourself down over there. You learn how to sleep over there. You go to school and you do your learning there.
But not here. Let me help you find your tools. Help you.
The science is there.
Learn.
That is literally how the brain develops.
You have to teach.
Co-learn.
You have
co-sleep.
To teach your child these things.
You don't have to teach anybody anything. You have to be a compassionate, caring human being, that your child participates in the life of you, and they watch you, and they learn through that watching, through that guidance. It's the same thing, and we've talked about this a lot because we've observed people in and around our life who are like, my children are assholes. And I'm like, well, you're an asshole. Like, how did you expect your child not to be an asshole if you yourself are an asshole? Oh, all my children do is yell at me. All you did to your children for many years was yell at them. And then normalized it. And then told them, well, that's how I express anger. Well, now that's how they're expressing anger. And then, you know, the same thing with, there was something dramatic that happened in a certain workplace recently. And these parents were complaining about how much their children are experiencing all this anxiety around their teachers leaving. And, you know, they're like, well, what about their children? Da, da, da. And they're being very loud and very vocal and very demonstrating how to handle the situation. Or our children are upset and they're confused about the uncertainty of their you know, academic future in the school. Da, da, da.
So then what did you do?
Well, that's
not
just
you.
it.
Not you.
No,
but that's what I would say to the parent. So,
but that's just it. They did what they did. They expressed all of this in front of their children. They talked about all of this in front of their children. They created all of this uncertainty, instability, insecurity around their children.
So now they're going to enter school with
all of that anxiety, all of that uncertainty, feel all of these feelings that aren't
theirs.
They're theirs, but it came from the parents, and then the parents are then blaming the school that their choice is what made their children feel that way, when really, if we all could have just paused, taken the information, remained as usual around the children, then the adults go, what the fuck is going on? And then the school is like, this is what's going on. And then the adults are like, okay, I understand now. And then go back to the children and be like, how are we preparing them for this change? Right? Like, what the fuck?
Collaborate, figure it out, then go to your child.
Then literally the children are like, oh, yeah, this change is happening. And like what? And I find this so interesting because I've had a few conversations with said parents who are like, well, we're going to go to this new school now because, you know, because of everything that's happening with the change in that classroom. And I'm like, oh, I suppose, like, if there's going to be a change in transition, why not make the change in transition a little bit bigger in a new school? Because that eventually would have happened anyway. Because your child's not going to graduate high school with those teachers. The change would have happened eventually. It's just happening now versus a year from now for some of you, or 2 years from now for some of you. But like, this is going to happen. And now that you're going to a school where they have a new teacher every year, it's going to happen over and over and over. So you had this opportunity for their first time to be a positive experience, so then they're not re-traumatized every time a change happens. Good God.
So I personally think our next conversation, lack for a better term, we should come up with our own little whatever. I think we dive in on PDA. I think we dive in on the parental side, the children's side, adults with a little bit of it. And we just dive in.
Parenting with PDA is really difficult. And also, what I've been learning is there's, I don't like it when someone comes and changes something that I'm trying to do. And I've tried really hard, and I'm accepting the fact that if I didn't have help building this skill, that it is going to be more of a challenge as an adult. Learning a new skill. However, if I'm like, I find myself often being like, oh, I need to go vacuum that rug. And then I have children who are like, ooh, I want to vacuum the rug. And then my automatic impulse is, no. I am vacuuming the rug. I do it up and down, side to side, left to right, or whatever. My method of doing it, and it's done correctly. And then I feel like
Yes.
Yep. And so absolutely, we
Yep.
should dive absolutely into that on the next episode.
Yes.
So maybe we'll reach out and get like some other thoughts from some other people in preparation to it. I think that'd be cool too.
I'm sure CB would have some thoughts on how I correct how he's doing.
Yeah, let's not go lower. It's not going to be a therapeutic episode like that. But yeah. But this was Jessica.
And this is Jennifer.
And this was the Behavioral Plan Podcast.